Hello and welcome to another episode of the Never a Straight Answer podcast, the podcast that aims to cover a wide range of topics from conspiracy theories to popular culture and news. I'm your host Gaz, and joining me in the studio, well, it said he was voted the award of Class of 2065 for most likely to travel in time. All I know is my co-host is Mr. Taylor.
Oh, yes. I wish I was true after time travel.
Does that mean you're from the future, Mr. Taylor?
Yeah, that's why I've come back and
now you're imparting your knowledge on us.
That's it.
Well, that's good,
That's it.
because this week it's a time travel episode. Time travel
wicked,
story.
really, bros.
Love a time travel story. Well,
Yeah,
anyway, thank you and welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thank you for joining us for another mind-altering, subliminal message receiving show.
Yeah.
Whether I know you didn't, did it? Whether you're a new listener or a repeat offender,
yes.
you're always welcome along. Thank you for joining us. For this week. We're back to full strength.
We are.
Yeah, everything's back online. If you were wondering, if you don't know, check out last week's show. Because I don't know if people listen. I don't know if that was a result of, but like for some reason we got like not many people listening last week. But it was an interesting one, bit personal as well. I found it. But anyway, this week we're going to be talking about the fascinating case of Sergei Ponomarenko, who was the Ukrainian photographer and possible time traveler. We'll be taking a look at one of maybe the most compelling time travel story you're likely to find in the past, present, or future.
Oh, nice.
So, you know, thank you. Do you know what I mean? I do work on this stuff.
Yeah.
It's not like I come in half-assed or anything like that. I do have some semblance of... Anyway, you're just ruining it now. You're ruining the magic and mystique.
Oh, the mystique.
Anyway, if you don't know what time travel is,
Well,
where have you been? Time travel
Where
is
are
the
you going?
concept of moving between points in time, moving between different points of time and space.
Mainly forward.
Backwards.
Well, we're trying to work it out if we can do it backwards, aren't we?
Well, here's a question for you. I've got a couple of questions for you, but here's one for you, right? If the past's a past and the future's the future, but every second you're moving into the future, and every second you move into the future, the past is being created, then I submit to you that the present actually doesn't exist.
Oh, so you're going down, I suppose, the route of the zero in numbers.
Yeah, because, I mean, how can the present exist if the future's always moving forward and the past's always being created behind it? There's no wiggle room, is there, really? So I submit to you and the listeners that the present is not really... It's a non-existent concept.
So you're saying, but... In a way, it has to be because there is something in front and something in behind, so you have to be the one in between.
You're in the moment, right? But the moment
even if it's a thin layer.
The moment is forever fleeting into the future and being... you know what I mean? This is the thing. I mean, you can have a think about it. Don't try and just argue the toss right now. Have a think. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. What do you reckon?
Well, you might be.
You
might be right.
I could be right.
You could
sometimes
be.
am.
Sometimes.
Here's one for you. Second question, time travel related. Right. So if you had a vehicle that was traveling at the speed of light, and you then turn the headlights on,
would the lights?
What would happen? Would happen in that instance?
I believe nothing.
Are you travelling at the speed of light, and then you switch the main beams on? You're projecting that light
projecting
is
light
the
that
light
won't go anywhere.
is no, but it may be because the light is actually travelling at the speed of light. So therefore, at the moment when you switch it on, so would that little extra boost of light project you faster than the speed of light?
Well, if in theory, if there is any kind of light that comes out of it, then there has to be something faster than light.
Well, that's what I mean.
That would open up the answer to the question, is there anything faster than light? Even though, like a couple of years ago, they thought they actually found something else that was faster by an experiment, and it ended up being an error. So nothing is faster than light.
So they thought they had it, but then they went, oh, imagine having to be that scientist who went, I found it. Oh, no, I haven't.
Yeah. Oh, they made a big hooey over it.
Shit.
As well. Yeah.
Sorry.
Let's go and have a party.
Let's pretend.
Spend all that
Can
money.
I pretend I never found it?
Yeah, we haven't found shit, man.
Well, anyway, I found some good things this week. What did you find? Have you had a nice week? Have you done anything interesting?
Just working and looking into how to get out of the system.
Out of the system?
Yeah.
Go off grid?
Yeah.
I always thought, going off grid sounds like a really nice idea. Yeah. And, if there was an instance where we all went, back to, primitive ways of living, it wouldn't be so bad. I think most people would be a lot happier.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Well, there's a really old law where it states that you can buy a property, which is, let's say an acre is roughly around about 10 grand at the minute, and then build a building on there, and maybe a little shack or something. As long as you're living in there for 4 years, the authorities can't touch you, they can't fine you, they can't get taxed.
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, I understand this does happen because I've seen.
You don't need money to spend.
You do, because you still need like materials to build your house. But what I'm getting at is
you build that.
These
up.
Loopholes around building properties without getting planning permission and stuff, where they bale hay bales up.
Yeah,
right, on the land,
saying,
and then they build behind it, and then as long as. Like you say, if they're living in it for 4 years or whatever, then they go, oh no, I've been here for ages, and they take the hay bales down there because they can't be touched. I think that's the law. I do remember watching something on it.
Yeah,
I think the
really
house
old one.
in this particular thing though, they got sussed out and they had to knock it down. So
it
was a case of they were trying to build a castle behind these hay bales, and they were like, whoa, what are you doing? Because there was turrets coming up beyond them. You know what I mean? There was a fucking Disney themed castle.
Well, if he'd thought about it rightly, he should have built something smaller. Then it's not in any eyesore or anything like that. No attention to it. And then after the 4 years, he can do what he fucking wants with that land. He could build all on that land, and he couldn't do shit about it.
I've actually got. I think didn't we talk about this a while ago? But I actually ran a competition a long time ago about. I own a square foot of land in Scotland.
Yes.
They basically can buy them. As a gift.
I was actually thinking of doing that.
Well, somebody got me a square foot of land, and I've got the deed for it and everything. So I was trying to come up with ideas for what to do with my square foot of land.
Yeah.
And some people coming up with some brilliant ideas.
Like what?
Well, you
plant a flag in it.
You could plant a flag. You could put a statue of yourself. No height restrictions.
Hey, that's true.
You could,
ladder to space.
You could build a ladder. A big ladder to space.
Yeah.
You could basically build a really narrow block of flats. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
What else? There's plenty of things you could do. Put a little allotment on it.
Windmill.
A windmill.
Yeah.
A solar panel.
Yeah.
Do there's infinite possibilities what to do with your square foot of land. So you never know.
Yeah.
An Airbnb, stay on the smallest plot of land known to man.
That's true, and you should be known as a lord as well.
I am actually,
You're a lord.
I am known as a lord.
Yeah.
Which does come with a laird. Actually, it's a Scottish landowner's a laird, and that title does come with the land. You're right. Because I've often wondered what title comes with the moon plots. Because you can buy moon plots.
Yeah.
And you can buy an acre. It's not just a square foot. You can buy an acre of moon.
I'll tell you what else.
And that's my moon. And then when the property moguls move up there and they're all trying to build and buy real estate on the moon, they got to come to you because you own an acre or two of moon.
That's true. That is true.
It's come on, my prime moon estate.
But I found another piece of legislation as well. Which was to do with...
Come on.
It's the money. I've just gone blank on it, to be honest. I've just gone dead.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I just had it there, but then I was listening to what you were saying.
He was thinking too much about the money.
Yeah.
I went to see Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa, that was good.
Is it? I haven't seen it yet. No,
you've not seen it yet. I've seen it twice.
Been waiting.
It was very good. It was a perfect round up to the trilogy.
Yeah.
My opinion, best trilogy in the Marvel series, most original. And the thing about the Guardians of the Galaxy is you don't need to have watched all the other Marvel movies to just appreciate it. It is very kind of heartwarming. And I would go as far as to say, like, this generation's Star Wars in terms of, like, you know, a great space movie. Yeah. And
they need to bring what was that program they had on for ages? Shield.
Oh, Shield. Yeah, Shield was good. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with that, but I mean, whether they finished it.
I want to do more.
Maybe because it's all Disney Plus now, isn't it? But I mean,
and it all connects as well.
But again,
and it gives a good.
I feel like with the Guardians and stuff, even stuff like Shield, when you've not got
like a piece of string,
a bit of foreknowledge about it. So Spider-Man. You know what to expect out of Spider-Man. So when you see a Spider-Man movie or a Superman movie or a Batman movie, you're a bit kind of like, well, kind of know what I'm getting. Yeah. Whereas you see something that's quite original, you go in with no expectations, then I feel like you can enjoy the movie a lot better. Do you know what I mean? Because you're not kind of going in going, oh, it best be as good as the last one. Well, I mean, in this case, you might be because it's a sequel, but like, generally, from a property, from the first Guardians, I mean, like when you go to see the first one, people were like, don't know what to expect out of this, let's see what happens. And do you know what? Brilliant. So
my brother in the sci-fi, but he likes them because they have them little funny parts.
It gets you in the feels. It's really good characters,
good music,
and the direction on the film itself. James Gunn, who directed the whole trilogy, won't be working on Marvel movies from now on. He's actually been picked up as kind of like the head honcho at DC, so he's going to be making DC movies from now on.
That's kind of changing at the
and
moment.
Be the Kevin Feige of DC, doing a DC cinematic universe. And to be honest, he's probably a really good choice to kind of tie it all together, because that's what DC were really lacking in a lot of ways.
But do you reckon then Marvel are going to actually be a bit poorer now, depending
without
on who
James Gunn?
Definitely.
And some people are even saying that, you know, this means like, you know, the DCU is going to be even better, and you know that it could be like the downfall of Marvel in some way. So we'll see what happens with that. Other than that, weather's been really nice this week.
It's been all right.
Sorted out all the hacking stuff, which was great. And that's pretty much what I've been doing this week. Bit of work and stuff. So
sweet.
Definitely. So did you remember what you were going to be talking about then? At all?
No, I'm still here trying to think of what I was saying. I was getting up to the land ownership.
You freaking stoner.
It's something to do with money, and how you can get something cheaper. Basically, not spend as much money as you want, as they want you to.
As who wants you to?
The system.
Well, basically, everybody's trying to push it and make you empty bank balance, aren't they, at the moment? Right, well, if you would like to help the show, you can get over to Patreon. Patreon is a platform that helps us basically progress and kind of like develop the show a bit more. If you don't know what it is, there'll be a link in the description. You can sign up in a few different tiers, so you can sign up as like a entry level, which is about £1, £1.99 a month. Up to about £5. And it accesses you extra content, bits and pieces, and, you know, a bit more kind of like interaction with us. It helps us, like I say, progress and develop the show. So if you could check it out, we'd be much appreciated. You can also go over to the website where there's other ways to help, as well as a contact page where you can contact us if you have any questions. So do check it out.
Check it out. Without a doubt.
As well, this week's episode is in part brought to you by Audible.
Oh, yes.
So Audible's, we're offering a trial offer, so you can get over to Audible and get a trial offer. New customers can try an audiobook and make the most of every moment.
Oh, yeah.
With the trial, customers will receive one free audiobook.
Ooh, Yeah.
It's a sexy little audiobook you can listen to and keep, even if you cancel. Prime customers will receive 2 audiobooks in their trial, with the ability to choose from the world's largest selection of audiobooks, including bestsellers, new releases, sci-fis, romances, mysteries, classics, and more.
It's too big to handle.
After 30 days, you will receive a book every month for just $7.99, and it renews automatically. But you can cancel anytime, and you don't lose your business. You don't lose your books.
Yeah.
So
for life.
We'll try and find something, stick it in there, which might be a nice little recommendation. I'm sure.
I'm sure there's some time traveling.
Definitely some time travel info out there. Talking about time travel, we definitely have got a great show because this is one of the best time travel stories I've ever come across. Like in terms of oh wow, do you know me, I like a good time travel story. I love John Titor. I feel like, and we talked about this earlier, right, when there's a resurgence in a story. So the original story happens and it was amazing, right, and then we kind of forget about it for a bit, and then somebody else comes along and goes, oh, I'm back, and it's me, it was the same guy, and it's like there's so many differences, and it's not the same sort of vibe to it, and you can just tell that it's someone trying to get in on it, potentially. I feel like that John Titor was one in particular. Tonight we're going to be talking about Sergei Ponomarenko, who was he's an infamous Ukrainian time traveler. He's arguably the most believable time travel story out there.
Yeah, one of the most followed, and trying to get the answers to the puzzle of it.
Well, there's been a lot of kind of people talking about it as well. So there's been videos cropping up. There's a lot of TikTok activity about it. The name Sergei Ponomarenko is kind of getting out there. He's basically gone down as one of the most infamous cases of its kind, and it centers around the city of Kiev in Ukraine back in 2006. So the story starts with Sergei getting ready. He's got a day off. He's going out to take some photos. Now, bear in mind, this is in 1950, it's around 1950, early 1950s, isn't it? I think it was definitely 56-ish because it was about 50 years.
I think it was 58.
Well, I'm going to take your word for that because I can't actually find you the actual date, but we'll find you. I'll get to that, right? So. Yeah. He always loves trying to go, no, it's not, right? Anyway, while I'm trying to flow, do you know what I'm saying, right? Yeah. Anyway, right, so he's getting ready. It's 1950 something, mid 1950s, for argument's sake, right?
Yeah.
And he's got a day off. He wants to go out and take some photographs, right? Now he's got a pretty kind of fancy camera for the time. It's a dual lensed 120 film kind of flex camera, right? Yeah. These cameras at the time would have been quite expensive, but he's got one, right? And he wants to go out and take some photos. So he's gone out on the streets of Kiev and he started taking photos of the local scenery, the local architecture, pictures of himself doing a bit of selfie action.
Yeah.
Trying to get, some good snaps, right?
Oh, yeah, as you would.
So he's walking around the streets of Kiev, which he's obviously been brought up in. He knows the area.
So he knows it, yeah.
And he's suddenly sees something in the sky that he can't really explain, yeah? So what do you think he's seen?
Oh,
well.
Yeah.
Go on.
It's a UFO, isn't it?
Has he seen a UFO, right?
Yeah.
So this is what he claims that he's seen a bell-shaped object in the sky.
Which, soon as you heard that, I thought straight away the Glocken. which is the German for bell, which when we raided Germany, there was supposedly a bell there and it disappeared. So it's something to do with time travel.
So do you think the bell is like a human invention, like it's developed by the Nazis, or do you think it could be like an alien craft of some description? Because and was there some sort of link with the German bell and time travel?
Well, yeah, totally. There was supposed to be a mirror on top of it where Hitler was looking into the future. It disappeared around about 1944, and it reappeared in 1974 in Pennsylvania, I believe, where something of that object has crashed into the ground, and the army straight to it.
So the US government have the Glocken, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, they actually know how it works as well.
Right, okay.
Yeah, it's to do with putting protons and neutrons inside and speeding up around, inside the bell.
So that's basically like a Hadron Collider.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah. But not hitting each other, but they make something to actually...
Well, he's obviously not a physicist, are you, Taylor?
No.
So, yeah.
No.
Well, what I was going to say is, so you're thinking that this could be... I mean, even if the Germans had it, doesn't necessarily mean they developed it. Yeah. So they could have just acquired it somehow and knew how to use it. And then, like you say, it's fell into American hands in some case.
Yeah, the Americans
we don't know whether this was alien technology or human technology. I mean, as far as I know, this is quite an advanced leap.
We were so close to losing it, so because he advanced right near the end. He really
if you had a
advanced
time machine,
so
though,
much.
You would basically be able to kind of go back and fix it. Jim will fix it.
But there was a story of his one of his men, one of his generals, and his general's wife, who was a part of a witch cult where cult where
come on, you can't say it.
They don't cut the hair,
right? Okay.
And supposedly had gone into it, and then it had
he was definitely into the occult. Hitler. So acquiring objects of power potentially is something that I wouldn't put past.
And they even know roughly where it was actually.
But let's forget the fact that this was seen during the Second World War. This was almost a decade later.
Yeah.
Right. So you say it disappeared from Germany. Right?
Yeah. In about 44.
It disappears, and then all of a sudden, a similar object seen by this guy Sergei in the Ukraine, which at the time was part of the Soviet Union.
Yeah,
right?
Which makes it interesting because there is certain eyewitnesses of seeing the Glocken in certain areas, but this one, and I find this one a bit more interesting because of the time traveling within it.
Although there's no actual evidence to suggest that it was the Glocken that he saw that day, it could have been a UFO. Yeah. He describes it as a bell-shaped object, but also we have seen in the past evidence of kind of sightings of bell-shaped and sort of teardrop-shaped objects, which kind of resemble even like your flying saucers. Moving at a speed. If you don't see, if you just see kind of it on an angle and it's got a dome top and a flat bottom, then you might describe it as a bell. All Sergei knew that it was that he'd saw something in the sky, and with him having his camera on him, he was going to take a picture of this. Right. So he says that he rose his camera up to take the picture. And when he took the photo and turned around, he was suddenly in a city that he didn't recognize anymore. Like, he was in Kiev, but it didn't look like Kiev. It was very different. There was a lot of different people that he didn't recognize how they were dressed. He didn't recognize some of the buildings. Himself, he's dressed in like 1950s, attire. His camera's like, super antique now by today's standards. And he found himself in 2006, Kiev. Yeah, right.
Bit of a distance.
So confused and a bit kind of like, worried, bit scared. He starts kind of wandering around the streets. And he's actually trying to find a certain street. Yeah,
that's right.
So he's asking people. He's asking people, "Do you know this street? Can you point me in the right direction?" Some people say there's some police there. Go and have a word with them.
Yeah. So fuck off away from me and go and have a word with them instead.
So he goes over to the police. He has a chat, and they say, he's explained, I'm a bit disorientated. I'm trying to find my way to this place.
Yeah.
And the police inform him that this street hasn't existed for a long time. Yeah. And they want to kind of know what this guy's situation is, so they ask him to see his ID. So, as he's not going to kind of like refuse. He pulls his ID out and he shows it to the police officers. Yeah. When they look at the ID, they discover that it is dated 1956 or 1953 or whatever.
In 1932, he was born.
He was born in the 1938. Yeah, right. So he was born in 1938. I've got his birth certificate right in front of me.
No, right. I'm just thinking because he was 58 before.
So he's basically produced his ID and shown it to the officers. And they're like looking at it as his birthday, thinking this guy should be like in his 70s by now.
Easily.
But they're standing looking at a man in his mid-20s. The photograph on the ID matched his. And the ID was a genuinely issued ID from people in the Soviet Union. An ID that was issued to youngsters or young adults in the Soviet Union when the Ukraine was part of that. So this is like starting to get, like this. They go, he's kind of suggesting to these police officers that there's something not right here and he's potentially needs investigating. Wrong. So obviously they take him into custody.
You can't.
And he tells a story, and they're kind of like, no, we have a chat with our friends in white coats over here. They'll help you out. And they've basically took him in to interview him. Right now, this is where it gets weird because there's actually video footage of this guy, right, who is genuinely looks like really worried. He's kind of like, stressed out to be in this new environment. His eyes are everywhere. He's looking around like...
Especially mobile phone, apparently.
Well, he was looking at a lot of the technology, right?
Well, the mobile phone was a proper weird one for him.
Well, I can understand, wouldn't it just be?
That's true.
From someone in the 50s to
like
seeing
Trek,
it's like super futuristic.
Yeah.
So he's basically been sent to this doctor's place, like doctor's office, to speak to this psychiatrist or doctor to assess him, basically. And he's give him the story, and he said, "Look, I was just taking photos. I'm out on the streets of Kiev.
Showing on drugs, son."
Well, that's what you'd think, wouldn't you? They'd be like, "Oh, is this a mental health thing? Is this a drugs thing, alcohol thing?" But this guy is dressed in kind of like outdated clothes, right? He's carrying outdated technology. But exactly. It looks fresh, right?
Not like it's been in a closet for years.
Exactly,
and years.
Yeah, right. All of his ID is perfectly like preserved, but they would argue are legit IDs. Yeah. Even the film in his camera. These photography experts who'd say, the film in his camera, the specific brand he used went out of business in 1970. Even if he had some of the film from then, it would have expired long ago. And he wouldn't have got anywhere near the quality of images that they did get out of the camera. But in fact, the camera, itself was in pristine condition.
Immaculate, supposedly, near enough brand new.
So all these kind of factors kind of made them think a little that this guy seems a bit kind of... It's a bit of a strange story. It might not be...
Might not be Napoleon.
Well, it's not going to be like, something where...
Complex.
Well, a Napoleon complex is thinking that you're Napoleon. Yeah, like, but you know,
he might be thinking he's a time traveler and he isn't. That's where
I suppose all right then. Like where he's got delusions. Yeah. So rather than this guy having delusions, maybe there is something to what he's saying. So he gets to the part where he's talking about this bell that he's seeing in the sky.
Yeah.
This spaceship or flying craft, which he says was like nothing he's ever seen before. Yeah. And he took a picture of it. So
as you would.
He's turned around to the doctors and said, look, I can't describe it. Yeah, right. What I saw, it's something that I can't even describe yet, but I took a photo of it, so maybe you should go and check the images on the camera. Yeah. Right? When they developed the film, like I say, they took it to a photography expert, who assessed the film, said the film, like I say, went out of business in 1970. The film that he had was like he bought it yesterday. It was brand new, right?
Brand new.
The images on the camera, were all from mid 1950s Kiev, right? Of the buildings and the architecture and the sort of ambience of the city, right? There was selfies of him, and his girlfriend.
That's right.
Yeah, right. In the on the camera. There was pictures of him.
A number of pictures
in these 1950s, versions of the city. Yeah. And then finally, there was a picture of a bell-shaped UFO.
Yes. Yeah. That's right.
Above the streets of Kiev, right?
Well, I actually thought. I said to you, I actually thought one of the pictures that it was actually shown. It reminded me of. You remember the JFK assassination, and they had this picture of Oswald.
Yeah, he does look like Lee Harvey Oswald. Yeah, I'll give you that.
But the background and to me, it just proper looked like it just wasn't. It was right, but it just wasn't right. If you know what I mean. They've
had to kind of acknowledge the fact that this guy is telling the truth. Yeah, right. Well, everything about his story is stacking up. Yeah. Right. Yeah. He's then been kind of asked to go back to his room while they kind of assess this information. Yeah,
i.e. a little cell.
A little cell with a little room, with a little bed, and there was no way out, no way in. One way in, no way out. Right? Yeah. He's on. He's got guards posted outside the door. His windows have got cast iron bars on. Yeah. Right, and he vanished.
It is just like that.
Right. Now going back to him being in the clinic. Yeah, right. Like I said earlier, he was fascinated with the technology. Yeah. Right. So there was actually video surveillance or CCTV footage of him
moving around in that area.
Just waiting around, waiting to be seen by the doctor and all the rest of it. Yeah. And like you say, he was obsessed with the technology. He was asking members of staff about the phones. He was asking about the microwave oven when he was actually really quite amazed how you could prepare a meal in just a minute.
Which he played it right. If it's not true,
somebody from the 50s who's come into this and he's being interviewed and he's taking it way serious. He's like, I don't know, this is definitely what happened to me.
Bang on the head,
Jobby. Then I think he's definitely going to be soaking in all the things he doesn't recognise,
and seems like the truth.
And things that we take for granted as sort of like technological marvels. Yeah. And wouldn't you just be kind of in awe of it all?
Oh yeah. You'd be amazed at some of the technology, wouldn't you? Really?
Well, we were, like I said, we were saying earlier about some of the photographs on the camera. Yeah. Were of him and his girlfriend at the time. Yeah.
And separate one of his
what was she called again? Well, we can't remember her name. All the sources, it's not even that we can't remember it. All the sources were really vague and sketchy on her name. To be honest, it's just always the woman or the wife or girlfriend. Yeah. When they actually managed to track her down.
Yes. Yeah, that's right.
The woman in the photograph, and they basically looked for missing persons reports from 1958 onwards.
That's right.
and they discovered that there was a man called Sergei who went missing around that time, and they found the woman who issued the missing persons report, which turned out to be the woman in the photograph.
That's right.
Yeah. When they went to visit her, they discovered that she corroborated it all because she had very similar photographs in her collection from that time. Yeah.
A bit spooky.
All showing the young man that they just met, wearing the same outfit, very similar clothing, like, like a woolen V-neck jumper, or like, a sleeveless
baggy
what are they called
trousers.
now, like those sort of tabard sort of
I've got tank top.
A tank top. Yeah, wearing sort of like a tank top and like very kind of like period clothing, but he's wearing all the same similar stuff in these photographs. It's very freaky.
It's like he hasn't changed.
Now, he basically has disappeared, right? Mm-hmm. But obviously she put out a missing persons report, right?
Something
now,
like 2 days or one.
She reckons that he turned back up, a couple of days later.
That's
right. But he was convinced and told her this crazy story about he'd disappeared, he'd ended up in a strange land and all the rest of it. And there's even some audio footage of a man named Sergei on a futuristic program that was put out in the Soviet Union in the 1960s about the future technology and stuff like that, where this man was basically describing microwaves, describing telephones, mobile phones, things that he basically had a very keen interest in while he was under observation, while he was just in this office, psychiatrist office, I suppose. Yeah. And, he was quizzing these people about it, but obviously that itself is quite far-fetched. Now, going into the whys and the wherefores, do you think this was an alien abduction? Do you think it was a time travel? Did he skip through a vortex? The fact that he was returned back to his own place of origin suggests that it wasn't like some sort of like wormhole he'd stumbled into.
Yeah, it was
something like he was picked up and put back down, and it reminds me of that movie Flight of the Navigator.
Yeah.
Do you know where the kid, he's picked up as a kid, he's taken off for experimentation, and when they bring him back, they're like, your body wouldn't have survived us taking you back, so we brought you back 10 years, 20 years in the future, and everyone's older, and his life's not the same, and all the rest of it.
Fucks his life up,
and and he wants to go back to his point of origin. Do you know what I mean? And it kind of gives you that vibe. What do you think about the story in itself? Do you think I think like it's got a lot of legs in terms of the evidence. He's got these photographs. It's got like evidence to back his story up. He's got ID from another time. He's got the clothing. The clothing matches.
I'm imagining the speak as well would be roughly back in that time instead of like now. You know what I mean?
His lingo, his
right there, son.
Slang, if you like. Maybe. Do you think so? Like you mentioned the Glock earlier. So I mean, if that was in man control or like human control, that would suggest that it was picked up by somebody local, like a human or a wing of a government or somebody doing something using this technology. Not an alien presence, perhaps.
Yeah, but it was interesting at the timeline between 1944, when it supposedly disappeared, to 1974. That like there's a few that have them similarities to the Glocken anyway. But this one.
There's always a lot of reports of missing time and stuff like that, but I mean, like to this extent, it's quite significant amount of time, isn't it?
It does interpret it to me that if it is true that he was taken, he went somewhere else in the solar system at the speed of light, and then they brought him back. He hasn't changed, but obviously the world has, and dropped him back at the wrong timeline. but then come back because they realised, or because it is kind of funny.
Well,
maybe
by maybe by dropping him in the wrong timeline, they're exposing themselves, because obviously, where did this guy come from? These questions. And he had a photograph.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that says to me, if you do kind of don't be taking pictures of UFOs, because you might get fucking beamed up.
Yeah, it just sort of clarifies something else to me about like how they seem to know every move that we make individually.
You've said this before in terms of like when you take a photo of or point your technology up at the skies at these things, they seem to rather evade you, or your technology breaks down. Yeah, you get some sort of like malfunction in your camera or like something. Yeah, I get where you're coming from with that.
And it's one of them that, like, there are a certain amount of people around the world that are being picked up, supposedly, and like played with. You know, like sort of like what we do, or what we used to do, still do now, I suppose, with animals. You know, even if they're injured, because there is reports of Travis Walton, where he believes, which is possible, that the reason they took him was because they hurt him with the first beam. So the second beam was to bring him up, fix him, put him back, wipe his memory, go back to normal.
So what, you think these sort of entities have some sort of compassion towards us, and they don't mean us any harm? So, you know,
in that kind
we
of
best
sense,
kind of put them back where they belong, and, you know, fix them up if we hurt them.
Well, you're messing up the...
We'll give them an anal probe, but we'll make sure they go home with a smile on the face, with a little hamper.
Yeah, that's it. You're messing up the stock. You know what I mean? You've got to control your stock.
Well, I don't know. Well, the idea of time travel in this instance, I mean, like, you know, this guy he's definitely found himself out of time. He's found himself in a place that he doesn't recognise. Taking advantage of that technology, he seems like quite a bright lad. Yeah. You know, I wonder if he ever, you know, invested that knowledge into something bit more fantastic.
One of the billionaires around now.
Well, there was another side to it, which, I mean, again, like I said about, you know, when they tack things on at the end.
Yeah.
So apparently, these rumours that he disappeared again in the 1970s.
That's right.
Yeah. And he sent his wife a photograph.
Yeah.
That showed him quite a bit older with a moustache. And he was stood in front of a skyline of a city with loads of really impressive skyscrapers.
Yeah.
And he said, "This is Kiev in 2050."
Yeah.
Right. You know, and he would be back soon, which suggests, again, this is the thing that cripples it for me, because now it's saying, oh, this man's got control of his time travel abilities, right? And he can go...
First time it was a mistake.
Yeah, first time was a mistake or by accident. Yeah. He didn't know how it happened and didn't know what happened.
Or are they playing with us?
This time round, he's saying, I've been sent to the future again, and but this time I know I'll be back soon, which he never did. He never came back, right?
Yeah.
But one thing I will glean from that bit of information is he was stood in front of this amazingly developed city, right, of Kiev, right, yeah. Now, with what's going on at the moment, you know, this was a story back from 2006, not a lot going on and kind of discussion about, you know, the Ukraine back then as much. But, you know, now he's saying in 2050, the Ukraine, Kiev's going to be this big metropolis of high skyscrapers and all the rest of it, which is actually not within the realms of, you know, that's well within the realms of possibility, considering, you know, it's going to be developed at some point, and there's going to be a lot of money being put into, you know, creating this new structure of Kiev and like how it's going to look in the future. And
true, but
maybe there's some maybe if we look at future photographs of Kiev alongside this photo, that's going to back that story up even more or dismiss it. There's going to be certain angles where you'll be able to line that photo up with the man with the moustache and say definitively that's the same skyline. Do you know what I mean?
But the answer to that, I reckon, will be no. And the reason why is because if you have a look in there, if you have a look in the picture, the Eiffel Tower's in the picture.
It's not the Eiffel Tower, though.
No, there's an Eiffel Tower in the centre of the city.
Well, how do you know that they've not kind of been, and gone and created something like that? There's an Eiffel Tower in Las Vegas.
Because
do you know what I mean? And how do you know? We've got Blackpool Tower, which people mistake for Eiffel Tower. Towers are towers. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
You can't... You're just saying that's Eiffel Tower, right?
Well, no, but this is what the
I need to have a look at that photograph. I'll have a look
at
that photograph and tell you.
Even in the same picture, the picture of his face with his collar at the side is actually taken off another picture as well that they've seen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
right, okay. So you're saying... So this is what I'm saying, right?
I'm not saying
when the original story's got legs and then these tacked on bits at the end, it's like, he came back and he went away again, and this is what I'm saying. It's like now you're trying to say he's got full control of his time travel abilities. Yeah. He's able to travel to the future of a future where he's like able to not only visit, but take photographs and send back to his wife.
And if it was UFOs, why would they take him to the future?
How would she receive that photo? Is it like Time Traveler's wife, where he puts it in a mailbox and then she gets it?
Yeah, something like 2021.
Bullshit.
Like that.
Yeah. So I don't buy that bit. Yeah, right. So up until that point where he goes back to he's.
That's more
there's video
plausible.
evidence. There's evidence of the other people will back this up. Yeah. These medical professionals, these police, that will tell you that he was in the room with no way of escaping, and he fucking vanished, right? Yeah. He turned back up at home. The same amount of length of time that he was missing for was how long he was missing for at home, and he turned back at home a couple of days later. And told his wife this crazy story. Do you know what I mean?
Well, there was some mixed matches as well because the police said it happened on a Tuesday. The video monitor said it was on a Wednesday. And actually, if you look on the date,
this is
now it's on a Sunday.
Because he was having a drink with Craig David on the Monday.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And then he took her for a meal on a Tuesday, and then he was time traveling Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, back home for Saturday, Sunday.
Well, that's it.
There you go.
He was just busy.
He was a busy man. Well, what do you guys think? It's an interesting one. I think it's full of holes, but full of kind of like compelling time travel amazingness. Do you think that it was, a branch of the government using the Glocken to abduct people and put them back in the wrong time period? Who knows?
All the aliens themselves.
Wouldn't you think though, if we had access to this sort of technology, that like things would be noticeably changing? Although, people could argue this Mandela effect could be like something to do with people changing the timeline, and we're some people are remembering more than others.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, it could be. It could be a massive thing that we're not actually noticing.
Slight things, butterfly effect and all that. Well, get in touch if you've got something to add. If you can find out his girlfriend's name, I'll give you £1.
Yeah.
I'll give you a whole £1.
I can't believe, it's just one of them names. I don't know
what was she called? Jeffrey.
Jeffrey, that's it. Yeah, Jeffrey Stevens.
It's all good. Right, well, get in touch if you've got any questions, queries about the topic this week. If you've got any other time travel stories that we might be interested in, love to hear about them.
You would.
Or if you are a time traveler yourself,
please
come on the show.
Yeah.
You've got to be compelling. We will vet you before we allow you on the airwaves. But
we will verbally torture you.
I want to know, man. If you're a time traveler, if you've invented a time machine, give us a shout. Or maybe you already have in the future or past. Well,
could be, you never know.
Time travel. It's something that I'd love to do.
I think everyone would.
Everyone would love to time travel for one reason or another.
Even if it was 5 minutes ago.
Tell us what your reasons would be by sending us a comment or an email. What would you do to time travel? What would you do if you were a time traveller?
Yeah.
Be interesting
if you
to know.
Were in control.
We'll just get loads of people going to kill Hitler. Kill Hitler.
Yeah, but then
smother him as a baby.
That could have been the worst thing to do.
Oh, I know, maybe.
Yeah.
So could be
I'd like to find out what the fucking future brings us, to be honest.
Anyway, well, we've got some news.
We have.
With the future past. This is the past, but, the future news. I tell you what the future has got to bring us before we get into the news. Appreciation days.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so, just because, there's a lot of shit going on in the world. Did you realise there's an appreciation day virtually every day?
Yeah.
And do you know what today is?
Wash your car day?
Well, yesterday, Sunday, was National Dance Like a Chicken Day.
Today,
right.
Missed that one.
Monday, would be Bring Somebody Some Flowers Day, National Straw Hat Day, and National Chocolate Chip Day.
Oh, right. So we can have chocolate chips tomorrow then?
Yeah, you can have today. You can have them.
Wearing a
tomorrow,
straw head.
It's National Piercing Day, National Mimosa Day. Yeah, and National Waiters Day.
Oh, right. Oh,
so tip your waiters, everybody.
Tip your waiters well.
And have a mimosa.
Yeah.
Order a mimosa and then tip your waiter for it.
With the mimosa.
Well, maybe. You can pass it on. Yeah. Totally. Enjoyable. So, you know what I mean? Take some time to appreciate the finer things in life. Well, is what I'm getting at. Enjoy the National Appreciation Days. Well, anyway, like I say, we've got the news, and it's coming up right now. It's the news! I'm a bit wounded I missed Dance Like a Chicken Day. I didn't dance like a chicken at all.
I would have done.
I would have done that.
I did it the other day.
Did you do? Oh, stay early.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
I was getting in preparation for it.
Preparation H.
Yeah.
Well, the news has not been disappointing this week. There's been some eventful things happening around town.
Oh yeah, they're right.
Not around to my town, but maybe around yours.
Yeah, probably.
There's a couple of people being found in freezers. Freezers. And this one is this is a right side. I was going to say he sounds like a right psycho, but he sounds a bit like Norman Bates. Yeah. The son who kept his dad alive, dead dad, in a freezer. His dad was 101 years old. I don't know if he was carrying on aging him.
Was that one when he died, or was he 70 when he died?
So they kept him for 30 years, maybe. I don't know. Well, he's 101. He'd been kept in a freezer, so we could talk to him.
Yeah, that's a bit lonely.
I mean, that is a bit Norman Bates, isn't it? So, there was apparently a similar situation in Limburg in 2015 when a body of a 91-year-old woman was found in a home she shared with a son. She had died 2 years earlier, and the son was basically keeping her in the finger. He'd ordered to pay back 40,000 in pension money that he'd been scamming
off
over the 2-year period. So that's a bit crazy, isn't it?
Bit desperation.
I'm just lonely. But then in Louisiana, police have found a woman's body in a walk-in freezer in an Arby's.
I'll tell you what, the business is for freezers in America.
They're smashing it, aren't they? I mean, an Arby's, though, is a local, like a fast food chain, or an Arby's, basically a restaurant, which is a chain restaurant.
Right, like a Mackey's.
Yeah, pretty much. But, I mean, Arby's is something that's, like quite distinct to America.
Yeah.
Have you ever had an Arby's? Let me know. I wonder what the food's like.
Yeah, what did they actually serve?
Well, it's on. I think it's kind of like one of those,
broccoli or...
a bit like Little Chef.
Yeah. Well, come on, no one wants a Little Chef.
Does a bit of everything. Do you know what I mean? Like, but Little Chef were all right. But basically, authorities in Louisiana are investigating the suspicious death after a body was found in a walk-in freezer at Arby's restaurant in New Iberia. So the police have said that it was a female victim, was an employee at the restaurant. So they're looking at the cause of death. It's not yet been determined.
So it could have been murder or accident.
Yeah. Well, like I say, if you sell freezers.
Well, yeah,
smashing it at the minute.
You're definitely smashing it at the minute.
Well, have you seen anything There's been some incidents this week.
Oh, yes, there has. Have you seen... do you know how to sink a $3 billion submarine?
With a $10 million missile, probably.
No. Well, the Indian Navy found out as soon as he put it in the ocean.
Why did it have a hole in it?
No, but someone left the port.
One
of the
you
holes
silly
open.
boys! It left the port all open.
Yeah, and it sank like a fucking brick.
That's advice for any navy, really. In fact, that's who puts a porthole on a submarine.
I know.
Windows on a submarine.
I know. It's just mad. It's just mad, man. You know what I mean? But mistakes have been happened, but. 3 billion
mistakes were made.
Yeah, that was.
Do you think the private involved or the skipper involved would have been reprimanded, sent to the brig?
Apparently, it was a couple of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently. Yeah.
What, did they open all the portholes?
No, just
as a prank.
One, apparently.
As a prank to see what had happened.
Well, yeah, you never know. You never know. You know what I mean? There are some comedians out there, some good jokers.
It's like, I'll get us a day off work, lads. Don't worry.
Yeah, I never wanted to go out to sea. I only wanted to join for the pay. Now I could go back on land.
For the camaraderie of my other fellow sailors at sea. Kind of funny. Basically, I found this story about an upset goat.
Oh, right. What? How upset was this goat?
It sounds like a children's book, doesn't it? I've got a story about a children's book in a minute, actually. But this is the police were basically responding to a report of a person seemingly in distress and crying.
Right.
But when they arrived on scene, they found that it was a very distressed and upset Oklahoma goat.
No way.
So the police officers in Oklahoma had rushed to the scene of a person who was crying for help. In a fit of laughter after they discovered the individual crying for help was actually a very upset goat who had been separated from his friends.
Oh, what did you do with it? Shoot it and take it and have a meal later on?
I was like, I'm going to cornhole that goat.
Yeah, I'll take your pain away, son. I'll take your pain away.
The goat was probably returned to its friends. It's probably the mascot now for Oklahoma police.
Hey, that's not a bad idea, right?
Yeah, I will be your friends. Yeah, they love a mascot, don't they?
Oh, yeah. But I'll tell you what they don't love.
Go on.
Borders. Because in America from yesterday, like the border... what was it? Action 42, I believe it is, has finished, which Trump put in to actually, stop all the migrants coming through and controlling it. But now there's no control of it, and they reckon that around about 10,000 plus a day are going to cross.
I've seen it. I've seen them all on the news. They were all just like bombarding the borders, weren't they?
Yeah.
I had a segue story, but you ruined it.
Oh, sorry.
And now it's hardly a segue because they had a children's book related story that I was going to follow up that one with. But I'll do it now. It's all good. This is a Utah woman who published a children's book about grief after a sudden death of her husband.
All right, okay.
Which is, you'd think that would be a nice thing to do, wouldn't you? You think,
book,
that's a way she could cope with grief and obviously help other people cope with grief in similar situations. She's now been charged with his murder.
Oh, shit.
So, And
she's off it as well.
Corey Richins, a mother of three, called the police late one night in March 2022 and said her husband, Eric, was cold to the touch. She told the authorities that she'd made her husband a mixed vodka drink before finding him unresponsive an hour later. When medical examiners later found Mr. Richards dead from an overdose. Obviously, an inquiry was set upon. They put out an inquiry about it. Later to find that it was actually her who'd administered it and basically poisoned him. She'd fixed him the vodka drink, and that's what they've determined was the how he got that drugs in his system. So
I would like to know how she slipped up though. if for a little while...
I'll give you a clue. She killed her husband.
Well, yeah, but she'd written a book and then, she's made a profit out of it.
Maybe that's why she was thinking that this was a great little cover.
Could have been something in the book.
Maybe it was so maybe she thought she got away with it and started getting all a bit brave and putting clues in her books.
Yeah.
Like, I did it.
Yeah. Yeah, right at the end.
Or did I?
Yeah. Question.
Yeah, maybe the book was about an abusive husband, and then she who eventually snaps and feeds the husband a tasty vodka drink.
A fantasy truth kind of.
Sort of a confession of sorts. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was the fact that they found all these pills in his system, and and found the time of death mixed with the time of kind of administering of the drink.
And if you were going to do it, wouldn't you put insurance on them as well?
She probably did. Yeah, do you know what I mean? These people.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You're going to murder someone. You don't do it for free, do you?
No, do you? You've got to get your pay, haven't you? You've got to get your due.
Have you seen this? What's happening in Texas?
Yeah.
It's crazy, America, isn't it? It's a lovely country, but I mean, there's a lot of weird shit going on.
Yeah.
So Texas, they're basically requiring now schools to display the 10 Commandments in classrooms.
All the schools have got to do this.
Yeah, seems like it. In Texas. Now, I mean, I know they're very religious state, but,
That's Jeremy Clarkson.
I mean... Maybe, do you know what, right? The 10 Commandments, out of all the religious stuff, is quite, it's like a little pocket guide, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's one of those, it's one of those, those things you keep in your wallet with, laminated, just
I won't go that far.
No, you know what I'm saying, that God does one, in his wallet, But what I'm getting at is, it's just the basic guide to living a good life, isn't it? Don't kill anyone, don't do this. The morals, right?
Yeah, I'd say it's more morals,
which I totally agree with.
Yeah,
right.
Same here.
So I'm not sure if the 10 Commandments as a thing itself is a bad thing to have in your classroom, because it's teaching. Well, these things that you should know anyway. Don't kill anyone. Don't rob anyone. Don't steal. Don't adulter. Don't coven an ox or something. I don't know.
Don't sleep with an animal.
Don't sleep with a donkey.
Defile your next door's missus.
Don't worship false idols.
Like
pop idols and that.
Yeah. You don't want none of them idiots.
So basically those are pretty kind of worthwhile things to have on the classroom wall. So if you take away the fact that it's any sort of religious basis to it, then
you know what kids are like?
That's fine. I agree with that.
You know what kids are like though? If you put rules down, they tend to like to break them.
So then go around on a murder spree.
Yeah. I'm going to sleep with animals.
It's not. It does it. It's like covet thy neighbour's ox, isn't it? Or covet thy neighbour.
Yeah, it's basically not sleep with you.
No, it's not.
Stock.
It's basically saying don't don't thingy what when they say keeping up with the Joneses, or kind of looking the grass is greener on the other side. By coveting what your neighbour's got, you're kind of envious. You're jealous. You're jealous. That's the way I see it. It's not coveting your neighbour's sheep or going and defiling them. It's not kind of being jealous of what they've got, and kind of being content with what you have in life. Do you know what I mean?
But we have got people who do that.
So
you know what I mean? So
well, they're going to hell, aren't they?
Yeah, you know what I mean?
So that I don't mind 10 Commandments in the classroom. I don't think it's gonna lead to kind of loads of kids going, no, I'm rebelling against these 10 things that you're trying to push on my way of life.
I bet one or two do. Try it.
Well, I'll give you the next story. Come on. Wow me.
All right, then. Do you know what Rihanna's and AC Rocky's baby's called?
I do know this, and I actually guessed. It was a guess, 100% guess, and I totally guessed it right.
You did?
They did say it had Wu-Tang connections.
Oh, it did.
And then straight away, I went, they've obviously called the kid RZA.
It is. That's right.
And that would be right, wouldn't it? So well done them for actually picking a pretty cool name for the child and not calling it after a piece of fruit.
You know what? I was just thinking of that.
Oh, bless a little pineapple.
Yeah, or apple.
Oh, banana, whatever you want. Fruit salad.
Yeah. It ain't going to be long till
it's all about guac.
It really ain't.
It's all about the guac nowadays, isn't it? The kids are into the guac, so I wouldn't be surprised if, they called the kid guac. In fact, there was a guy called Guac.
Is there?
Yeah, Guac Juan.
Oh, yeah. That's
Do you reckon he was named after guacamole? I don't know, maybe.
Oh, well, yeah.
The hilarious life that he leads. Anyway. Give us some news.
All right, then. Right, this is mainly for England.
The place we are in. Yeah. Considering most of our stories tonight have been like Louisiana, Mississippi,
we've got some
Utah,
British news. Yeah.
all the heartland.
Yeah. Not good news, but we've got some British
Come on, give us some
news.
British news.
Right, well, Parliament have put a bill through, and it's actually in the House of Lords now being sent through and checked over, which will stop any crypto messaging and any VPNs working in this country. Basically, we will have to turn everything off on securing.
In other words, you can't pretend you're anywhere elsewhere unless you're there, or because I say could you use that as an alibi? It was like, oh, I was in the Philippines that week. I've got internet stuff that'll back it up.
Yeah, but if I start making up a language to send messages to someone else, which knows that language.
Oh no, you shouldn't be sending coded messages, because sending coded encrypted messages suggests that you're hiding something, and then the government take interest in that shit.
So it's right then to the government to check every single detail of your life. Because that's basically what it will be.
Well, there you go. Then your basic. Well, of course he will, because that's the point, isn't it? They'll go, right, why are they doing this? We want to know who this person is.
Yeah, they don't have the right for that.
Are they a threat to national security? That's what they do. Unfortunately, in this situation, if it's like under all these terrorism rigmarole and stuff, they will just turn around and say, we've totally got the right to. We don't even have to charge you. We can keep you under observation. We can keep you detained for like a few fucking years in Guantanamo Bay.
Well, that's
and all the rest of it.
True.
So
that's true.
Don't worry about what they can and can't do, because they'll find a nature finds a way.
Oh yeah, but they're
going to CIA.
They're going to be even. It's going to be basically illegal to do that, which.
Having a VPN, most people use it just to like watch a movie on Netflix in a different country. It's like because they've not got it on English one or whatever.
That's right.
And that's how they sell the VPNs. They go, oh mate, are you tired of watching Netflix and not having the movies that America have got? And you could pretend to be in America and watch. And that's how they sell VPNs.
Well, it's also criminal.
If there's any VPN companies listening who would like us to promote your VPNs, we'll get on that. Because obviously, if we're trying to pass a law,
especially with this coming up,
super duper.
Fuck that.
Money's.
If I want to create a new language, I will.
A computer, all right. He's going to create a new language, and then we'll see what happens with that. We'll get arrested, right? Okay. So. I found this story. This is more innovation than anything. I feel like this guy, as he's won the hearts and minds of millions. With his invention. It's a Minnesota man. I've got a lot of love for Minnesota. So the Minnesota inventor who has gained following and a lot of interest in his unusual vehicle. Yeah, he's created a beer-powered motorcycle.
Oh, sweet.
Gone to
the pub to get a beer and a beer.
Now, I've got questions. Yeah, so Kyle McAllison, who previously he's invented lots of stuff, including rocket-powered toilets and jet-powered coffee pots.
Oh, shit.
This is a beer-powered motorcycle. Now, he's obviously driving under the influence.
Yeah, well, the car
I saw a little smirk then. That was fun. That was a good one. He's definitely driving under the influence, because his car's powered by alcohol, so therefore he's driving under the influence of alcohol. all times, right? Right.
Yeah,
so, I mean, should he be done for DUIs? No, I like the idea. I think this is genius, right? Especially in this day and age where petrol and fuel is rocketing in price.
True, but I don't think it's going to be on the road for a while. To be honest, I reckon they're going to end up taking it off it.
It takes it can hold a 14-gallon keg.
Yeah.
And it basically has a heating coil instead of a gas-powered engine. So it's pretty smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, does it just heat the beer up till it kind of like expands the gases and I like the idea.
Yeah, it's good.
The coil heats the beer up to 300 degrees, which becomes superheated steam, and then propels the bike forward. So the price of gas is getting up there. So obviously he says he doesn't drink much. He says, I'm not a big drinker, but beer's cheaper than petrol.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But for how much longer? Because if everyone decides to go with his process, beer's going to be a fucking pain in the ass.
Well, you can brew your own beer. That's the thing.
That's true, yeah.
You can brew your own beer.
Yeah.
I mean, would it work with carbonated drinks? I mean, would it work with Coca-Cola or like any other fizzy pop or something? I mean, I've got to assume it would. Yeah. He reckons that his bike can reach speeds of up to 150 miles an hour.
What?
Serious? Yeah. So he's actually taking it out to a drag strip sometime soon to test its capabilities.
Oh,
this guy's my hero.
He's going to end up in hospital.
I like this guy. Kel Michelson.
Mikkel Michelson.
Yeah, that's Kel Michelson. So he's an absolute genius in my opinion. Innovator of the year. So warning from Kansas officials. I need to slip this in.
Okay.
They said, please do not use guns to fish.
Yeah, use hand grenades.
True. They've basically had a lot of people using what was it, like 9mm handguns, taking them fishing in the Garden City of Kansas, it's not on. Yeah, use a rod like everybody else.
Or
you know what I mean? Trying to use the easy way of shooting fish.
Don't forget to take your pin home.
It's hardly fishing, is it?
Yeah. Well, no. Yeah, but it's easy, quick fishing, isn't it?
Well, have you got any more news?
Yeah. I have. England is now going to spend 2.5 billion fund for quantum computer software technology systems that we want to get into.
Who is?
The UK.
Have they not got any?
They have spent what was it, about 12 million a couple of years ago, but like this is a 10-year project.
I want a quantum computer, Daddy. I want a quantum computer now.
I do, and
it's like, wait a minute. So they're like, we were investing a load of money in an idea. So that's nice.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's like if you were a computer developer, who's developing these quantum computers?
Well, this is where it's going to be all developed, the software and the actual.
We're going to do it.
Yeah,
we're investing in building our own, essentially.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
We want. It's like now. That in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Like when they invent deep thought, which is like the ultimate computer to answer the ultimate question.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like this is what it's going to come down to. They're going to ask it like the biggest questions, and these computers are just going to go. Going to have a bit of time to think about this, and we're going to be like running these programs for years, centuries to get these answers. Yeah. So potentially it's not going to be in our lifetime.
True, but maybe. I still think,
and computing power is going to be like totally eclipsing what we can do now.
Yeah,
in that time. Quantum, so
I think it's just it's a dangerous area as well. I mean,
of course it is. The way more brighter than me or you.
Yeah.
Fucking toaster's more.
Yeah. It only takes one mistake, doesn't it, to bring.
And then you've got burnt toast.
Yeah, which I don't mind a bit of burnt toast actually. I must admit.
Yeah, scrape it off.
Oh no! Gives it that crunch.
And that smell.
Yeah. That smells. Oh man.
How would you like to live under the sea?
Yeah,
I'd like to be
only if I've got a submarine, so I can
under the sea.
Go shopping in that.
Well, this is another guy. Well, this guy, yeah, right.
Would you?
I wouldn't live up under the sea. Fuck the sea.
Why?
I told you I don't like the sea. It's not a friend. Creatures down there.
Creatures up here?
Crazy creatures. Yeah, but they all live in hedges and in boroughs and stuff. Don't see them. I mean, I don't see the ones in the sea, and I quite don't like to keep it that way. At the end of the day, I can escape land animals way easier than I can escape water animals. Yeah.
Well,
right?
yeah, but that's why I need a submarine. You know,
nowhere to go. Right.
Submarine.
Yeah.
So
well, this guy's he's been actually living underwater in a special underwater house with portholes, which he does have to keep closed. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Because it'd all be fucked up. He's living 30 foot deep under a lagoon.
Ah.
Yeah, in Key Largo.
30 feet as well. That's not bad.
So basically, he's won one of those records.
Oh right, Guinness Book of
Records. Sound like Jonathan Ross.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Guinness Book of Records. For longest time underwater. Longest. He's basically called Mr. Deep Sea. He's been living under the water on a protein-heavy diet of eggs and salmon.
Oh, I bet it stinks down there.
Prepared using he's microwaving salmon in a underwater bell jar.
And you know what your farts smell like.
Everybody knows what it's like when they're in the office and some idiot brings fish in and puts it in the microwave.
Or an egg.
Stinks the fucking office out for 9 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Yeah.
You know who
welcome.
you are.
You're
you
welcome.
fucking idiot. Yeah, so this guy's been obviously chilling under the water of Key West. In a little lodge in for scuba diving. He's spent 74 days.
I wouldn't mind going there.
Under there. What,
yeah.
Key West?
Key West, yeah.
Tropical.
Yeah.
It sounds like
nice,
is it nice?
Yeah.
I'll have to have a
From
Google.
what I've seen, yeah, it looks a nice place, and then I could go and visit him, knock on his door. Yo, son, let me in.
The underwater fella?
Yeah. What cup of tea,
You'll have to swim under.
Yeah, that's all right.
And the place will just stink of salmon.
Oh, well, I'll make sure I have some eggs before I get in there.
Right, all right. Well, I've got this last story before we get into NASA news. Have you got anything else you'd like to talk about?
You're right.
This is this is weird one, this one, right? Yeah.
Okay.
And we had a bit of a chat about this one before we started the show, but this is an ice cream seller, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Who's pitched up outside Auschwitz.
Oh, is that bad or good?
Well, this is the thing, yeah. Well, I mean, they've taken real offence to it, which I understand, totally agree.
Totally.
Yeah, right, of his location. The stall with pink logo placed 200 metres away from the landmark structures, of the notorious camp where the Nazis murdered fucking millions.
Millions, yeah.
They've pitched up an ice cream stall, yeah. There's obviously been like a lot of people
wanting
kicking
ice
off
cream
about it, but there's a lot of people wanting ice cream.
Yeah.
Is it a contrast? Is it the contrast, or is it the opportunity that they're taking, that people are taking offence to? They've got a stand there which basically has a lot of pink logos, and they even have signs that say waffles and ice cream.
Man.
I mean, this is hitting the news. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I can understand where
I think
people are coming from. I feel like it is a historical site, but like a lot of historical sites, there is some sort of
entertainment kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. But this is the thing. It's like, you go to Stonehenge and there might be like an ice cream van there or a gift shop.
Yeah, but that
right?
ain't a slaughter
You don't go.
place, is it?
Yeah, exactly. You don't go to Auschwitz and expect to see a gift shop.
It's like putting an ice cream
van. And I'd be
van.
offended if there was a gift shop there.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Selling trinkets and shit that were related to the fucking disaster. Get your T-shirts and all that. That would be really poor taste.
Yeah, it's like an ice cream van outside of
There's
a
one
graveyard.
thing seeing it, and appreciating the history, or like understanding the history, or opening your eyes to so this sort of stuff doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
It's sort of business opportunity.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, this is the thing, and it's a business opportunity that this guy's obviously thought. Well, there's a lot of tourists passing by. I want to take advantage of that passing trade.
Yeah.
So the difference between it, you've just said there, right? Yeah. What if there was a flower shop?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And you were taking those flowers and putting them at the gates. Yeah, right. Yeah. Would you feel the same way as you did about the ice cream shop? Knowing that they're still capitalising on the passing trade, knowing that, you don't need to take flowers, but it's nice. Do you know what I mean?
True, but I think it's more of like the flowers is like
is it the fact
I'm
that
giving
it's
to the dead person?
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, because you it's a memorial, or you're putting down something.
Ice cream there, though.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. But in the same logic, they're still thinking, well, there's so much passing trade there. I'm a flower seller. Yeah, I need to sell flowers. Where can I sell flowers? Now, if that was a flower seller, I wonder whether the locals would be as kind of as kind of thingy about against it.
Yeah.
Let us know. I would wonder what people would say about this.
To be honest, there shouldn't be anything there. It should be left as it is, and look after the place.
100%. I think it should be removed. Really.
Yeah.
Or so the local council help him find a more suitable location for it.
Yeah, maybe the car park down the road or something.
They might suggest another area where it's more suitable, where like they will get just as much passing trade.
Yeah.
Another sort of family entertainment area that they've not thought of, maybe. Do you know what I mean?
True.
See what happens, but I think they do
really
need to be moved on. They can't really stay there, can they?
No, totally.
There we go. NASA news. There's been some UFO sightings.
Oh, has there?
Yeah, well, we obviously saw there was a UFO sighting at the Charlie's coronation.
Yeah.
But there's, it's
what? I still haven't seen that.
Have you not seen it?
No,
it was during the flyover. So
right,
we'll Google that.
We'll
get the video up in a bit. But do you know it was Eurovision?
Yes, it was.
I know this was like last year. Sam Ryder, wasn't he? Was England's choice for that
champion.
But he's come out and said, obviously he was last year's near winner.
Yeah.
But he said basically Spaceman only came to him after he had a UFO experience, and that's why he wrote the song.
Really?
Yeah, because he saw a UFO.
Good lads.
So
Good lad. We need to spread the news, man.
Spreading the news of the spaceman.
Spread the truth, and we need to get it sorted
Poland thought they've just had a UFO encounter.
All right, okay.
Witnessed by several people, quite a lot of people. Poland's defense ministry on Saturday said that there was an unidentified flying object above Polish airspace. They've had a look into it, and they found that they think it's could be a balloon. From Belarus, a Belarusian balloon.
Chinese are spying over you.
But there is an investigation still underway to establish what it is,
and we know if it's not.
So Poland, which is obviously a member of NATO, is obviously like, wait a minute,
we doing
we're just sending stuff on our space. What you doing? We're in NATO. Listen, you can't do that. We'll get my mates on you. So obviously, investigations are taking place. Obviously, the object was discovered when it blipped on the radar for a while and then disappeared. And they went, "Ooh, what's that? UFO."
Well, yeah, but then errors and stuff like that we've got to look into. I suppose it depends on the investigation, if it's going to be a true investigation or just an investigation to go, right, let's fob these off.
Got any spacey UFO-y news?
I have. We were talking about this before. On Secure Team brought out a brilliant video of a...
haunting. It was, as Tyler described it, as haunting it was.
Yeah, it was... It's got to be one of the best videos out there, I must admit.
I mean, yeah, I would agree with you, because, I mean, when I watched it, I was quite impressed. It was taken from the cockpit of a commercial airliner.
Yeah.
The video shows a UFO screaming past the plane, almost in a teardrop sort of formation. The shape of it. Do you know? Again, I always go back to this Flight of the Navigator shape of the craft, and
it's been known.
I'll be honest,
change shapes.
That's what I was just about to say. I'll be honest with you. What really kind of got me about that film when I first watched it as a kid was the dynamics of the ship and how it changed shape depending on the speed it was going and what it was doing. So when it was kind of hovering in like sort of, it holds up still today, that film.
I watched it not that long ago.
When it's kind of going, right, we're warping out now, we're going into hyperspeed, it turns into a more of a liquid teardrop sort of shape. And this is what kind of look this had, and this is what I was getting at earlier with the Glocken. You know, some people might look up and see a UFO saucer, but depending on what angle you're on and the perspective you're looking at it from, you might see it on an angle which gives it a bell shape. You might see it going at speed, which gives it a cigar shape, because you see in a blur with trails, which gives it a lengthened perspective. You know, all these different shapes that get you know, thrown out as UFOs, even down to triangle shapes going at speed, would look more like a streak than a triangular object. So, you know, we get descriptions of UFOs, but they all kind of boil down to the very similar things in the sky, you know, and it's just our descriptive ways of kind of rationalising it.
There's several,
and,
but then there's
perspective on it. So
each one have got the different changes, I think. I mean, there's ones with like little balls that like seem to hold things together, and there is a lot of weird shapes and like indications, but then there are certain forms that stand out and don't move, like the triangle, the tic-tac.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, like, but the main thing is people who have observed these crafts have said they move like unlike anything they've ever seen. They move like...
they couldn't even...
do you know, in comparison to kind of like what we have here on Earth, and... you know, pilots that are able to fly at these breakneck Gs and, you know, be able to withstand.
Well, if anyone else knows how to do that without this technology.
I mean, the only way that I could possibly think they'd do this now would be pilotless. So we're able to get to those speeds.
Now we can.
But with drone technology.
So you still can't do the turning.
It's about well, you might be able to, because you can pilot a drone way more. There's way more maneuverability in a drone than there is in a commercial airliner, for instance. Right, or even an F1. They can turn and they can flip and they can do all this stuff. But side maneuverability, like doing kind of like turns on a dime. Drones smash that out of the air. Helicopters are the same, because they're propeller driven. They're able to turn, like, you know, what is it, yaw? They're able to yaw, right? So when they do that, they're moving in thin air. They're moving in that single space rather than having to do a maneuver to turn right the way around, which is a capability F1s have never been able to do. So when they're flying against these, you know, crafts that are able to go whip, 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 and doing maneuvers that they can't do, it's because they've not got the turning circle, if you like. So the way I see it is, you know, in this day and age, I think, like, with the technology that we don't know we've even got, which military are using,
way ahead
drone technology in terms of like what they can do, they've probably got crafts that are able to fucking fly as fast as our best you know, jets, and maneuver as crazy as a drone or a UFO now. But we just won't see them yet.
Well, we won't know, because it's the I can't remember what it's called, but there's an effect of every year technology for us goes up 2%, but for the military it goes up 40%. This is from Ben Rich, who was running Skunk Works. Before he died, he mentioned this kind of stuff, and it was like, you just would not believe what technology we have now. but it still doesn't answer the questions for what has happened in the past, if you know what I mean. So there is a lot in the past to say that these machines were out here before we even got involved or even.
Well, that's what I was saying about like, you know, in terms of like that Glocken earlier, you know, we say, oh, well, they had it and then it turned up here and turned up there.
Yeah.
That kind of makes you think that it's something that we've got access to as a species rather than. But then again, how did we get this technology? Because it's way ahead of the technology that we've ever had before. But then again, you know how technologies come so far in such a little time.
A small time,
fiber optic communications and, you know, the microchip and all these things that would never even, silicon chips and stuff that we never even thought of. But, you know, the commonplace now. And how much technology have we taken from unknown sources? You know, and implemented it into our everyday life, you know.
Well, yeah, I know of a few supposedly, but I reckon there's a lot more than we really suspect.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Well, that's the end of the show, I think. I think we've covered everything. Have you got anything else to
add? No. Oh, yeah, a meteorite, actually.
Go for it. Yeah, this is cool.
A 4.5 billion year old meteorite landed in someone's bedroom in New Jersey Monday night.
So what? It just whistled through the bedroom window? Or
no, straight through the roof. Straight through the roof. Yeah, and it was warm when they were actually a couple hours.
I've seen like, you know, horror movies start this way where it crack open and some like, you know,
some
sludge,
slime comes out.
Yeah, creeps over someone's face.
Hey, but that could be a serious effect in, you know, if it, like, what is it?
That could really happen.
Per day, over a.
You'll see that on those daytime TV adverts. It'll be like, "Do you realise 50 million people have been turned into sludge with only £2 a week? You can help them.
You've got some money in that.
Get them a bucket, to live in.
Fuck it, I'm flogging it. It's got some money, but over 100 billion waste and dust and everything from outside our atmosphere come into Earth. Every single day.
It's called space crap.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. Yeah, we're always getting bombarded with the little meteorites and stuff. You just don't know when they're going to hit. It's like winning the lottery, isn't it?
This is it.
It's one of those.
It's hard
if you are lucky enough to find a meteorite.
Oh, riches. Nice.
Yeah, so we're
to a certain degree.
Well, another thing, we're thinking of maybe setting up a P.O. box address. Yeah.
Yes.
And, you know, let us know if that's a good idea. If you maybe want to send us something or send us something. We were thinking of maybe doing like an opening of stuff on the show. Let us know if that might be something that you'd be interested in. You can subscribe on all the usual podcast platforms. You can go over to the website at neverastraightanswer.co.uk where we have lots of valuable information and downloadable episodes, videos, blogs, news articles, and more. It's a very cool site. Go and check it out.
It certainly is.
We're available on YouTube as well, so make sure you subscribe.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Daddy wants a play button. He's hanging on his wall. So come on, subscribe to us and get us up there. We want to be able to monetize this shit.
Yeah.
We've only been doing it 5 years. It's all good.
It is.
Anyway, you know. We'll be back next week.
We will.
And for another exciting episode. Hope you've enjoyed this week and we'll see you soon. I've been Gaz.
I've been Taylor.
We've been the Never Straight Answer podcast. Peace.
Out.